We survived the hurricane.
Thankfully. We were in a very lucky area.
Yes. I think is a hard topic to touch on because there's people that died from it and their whole house is destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
But the weather and meteorologist people are so frustrating with it.
Yeah, we have differencing of opinions on this a little bit.
Yeah.
Just, I think they do make it so drama, and all the news is so drama. So, like, well, why would we think when a storm comes, they're going to not be drama?
True. Yeah. You
But,
just would think the weather would be more data and, just like clear about stuff. But they're still, like you said, they're doing what a news anchor does with all the stories. They just dramatize everything and make it so crazy. And for the people who are affected, it is that dramatic. But they were saying the whole state of Florida is going to be flooded and crazy and everybody needs to worry and all this stuff. And where we're at, it's like none of that stuff happened. And, all of our family and people are messaging us and it's like, because they care, because they're hearing.
Because they're scared.
Because they're scared and they're seeing all that stuff to where, we
look outside.
We look outside and there's nothing. We're talking to people that live here and, going to work and talking to them and they're like, yeah, we're not worried about it. It's not coming that close to us. And like, the storm surge is not going to bother us and all this kind of stuff. So it's like, we're getting all this kind of fear mongering on the news and the weather. And then I'm just trying to ignore that and see literally where is it going? What's happening? Are we going to be affected? And it's like, even where we're at, they're saying, we're on the lower end, but they're like, but you still need to like we had an evacuation order to get out. And it's like, well, we already went through one with Ian that hit closer than this one was going to. And we weren't affected by that one at all. And then they're still saying like, you got to evacuate, you got to get out, you got to do this. And it's like, well, that one wasn't even as bad, or that one was closer and wasn't bad. So this one's farther away, so it shouldn't be as bad. And then we have our family messaging us because they care. But it's like, again, they're just hearing all these people like, you got to get out. Everybody's going to die. It's like, well, yes, the people that didn't get out where it hit, that sucks and they should have. And like, we feel bad about that. But you're putting everybody in this freaked out state when you don't have to. And it's like, we've lived here for 2 years and I already feel like I have enough data to know when we should stay and when we should go. How do these meteorologists not know? It's like we had an evacuation order in our area. It's like, okay, for the people that live really close to the beach and are by canals and rivers and stuff where that storm surge is going to come up and affect people. Yeah, I get those people need to get out.
Which it did.
Yeah, which it did. Yes.
I mean, like a mile. What do you think that road is? A mile down from us? Mile and a half down from us? They were flooded.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like here.
But here,
a mile down.
Right.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I think I'll say this and then I'll play devil's advocate to myself. I think the reason that they are drama and they are pushing the fear is because they know a lot of people like they need that in order to listen, period. To where, say with Ian, there was a bunch of people that stayed and we only have so many first responders to be able to handle the situation that it's those stubborn people that are like, well, it's not going to be that bad. And then they stay. And then the first chance or the first sign of something being wrong, that's when they need to be rescued. It's like they even said that on the news the last time when we had Ian, where they're like, you are putting other people at risk and in danger because you won't leave, because now you are going to expect those people that are here to come and save you because you didn't leave. So he was pretty much like, if you stay, expect to be on your own. Because our firefighters need to be working on these things over here and getting people out and getting like the nursing homes like that they can't leave and things that are a little bit top priority. You just being stubborn and sticking in your house, now you're taking away resources from the people that couldn't leave or that are unable to leave, that they have no family, they're in a nursing home, and we're trying to figure out where all these old people are going to go, that now you're taking those resources. But to be devil's advocate to myself, then you also have like the girl at the coffee shop where she's like, this is my first hurricane. And now she's hearing on the news, it's going to be terrible. You're going to die. You're going to drown. Everything's going to be terrible. And then nothing happens. So then now the next time it comes around and she sees on the news, it's going to be terrible. You're all going to die. You're like, well, boy who cried wolf. Last time it was fine. And maybe this is why people become stubborn and don't do what you've been doing of just, okay, well, it was like this last time. So it's probably going to be like figuring out your own data points, or like our boss, they know they live on a river. With Ian, it came up 10 feet. And that was like right at their house line. It covered their pool, it covered their whole yard, but it didn't get in their house. So now they know when they're expecting a surge to be 14 feet, okay, they know it's going to get in their house. But if it's 10 feet or under, they're like, we'll be fine. We might lose power, but we're not going to be flooded. Yeah. So then you have to use your own data points to know, like, in where I live, what's the chances?
Yeah,
based off of the other ones.
And I think that's exactly the problem. Is they were literally on there saying, if you don't leave, you will die. It's like,
we went on a walk.
Yeah, we went on the walk the morning of the hurricane and the morning after it. And again, it's all because of where we live, even within the place that we are. Like you said, a mile down the road got flooded, but where we're at, we know that it would take, even with Ian, that was like 10 feet of surge, even for our area, and it still didn't affect our place at all. So we would need like probably 15, 20 feet of surge or so much rain beforehand and all this kind of stuff. But it's like, we've, been here 2 years. We've somewhat figured out and been through some hurricanes that we know a little bit of what will affect us, that watching the news or watching the meteorologists go through stuff, like they even charted out for certain areas, not even just the county, but they would zoom in like on where just the city of Naples and where it's likely to get surge and where it's possible to get surge and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, so you have some data of where these places are going to get flooded and that sort of thing, but you're still just putting this fear into people. And they always go, we're not trying to scare you, but you're going to die if you don't leave. It's like, you know what you're doing. And I just think it's like you said with the girl at the coffee shop that you had overheard, like it was her first time and she didn't know what to do. That person is now freaked out, and then nothing happens, and then they go, well, hurricanes don't matter. And now when one's going to actually come right at us, those people aren't going to leave. Or you have the people who have lived here for 20 years and haven't really had one that's come near them. So, and they're maybe just, the news is, they're all fear mongering to this. It's like you have to play both sides. Kind of like what you're saying of being devil's advocate. You have to know your stuff and where you live and all that kind of thing, but then also have the kind of filter through of, okay, they're making this very extreme, and for where we're at, it's not going to be. It's not that a Category 4 hurricane isn't extreme. It is. You look at any videos, or sure.
But you look at Tampa or Sarasota, the videos are terrible.
Yeah.
People are like on the roofs. Things are like, like just like what Ian was. Like things are floating down the street. Yep. Their cars are ruined. Their homes are no longer there.
Yeah. It's terrible. But I just don't get why people can't play both sides or just be more realistic or honest about this stuff.
What I said about the TikTok guy. This video of this guy was like, this just should be the news, because this gives a little bit more of an insight of what you should be preparing for. It was hurricane evacuation notice. And it was a joke, obviously, but hurricane evacuation notice. And he did Tampa. And it was him with an umbrella with a suitcase leaving his home. Fort Myers. Sarasota's first. Yeah. Sarasota, block up your doors with the sandbags. Have nothing so that nothing is flooded.
He might have done this early because it actually hit more Sarasota.
He might have. I didn't
Sarasota, it's like pack your briefcase and get out.
Yeah, I didn't. It was Tampa, pack your bags and get out. Sarasota, put the sandbags by your door. Fort Myers, it was him just putting a board up against his fence so that his fence wouldn't come down. And then if you were in Orlando or anywhere else, he was like inside playing video games.
Yeah.
Like that should be the like advice. Like if you're in these areas, this is your order of operations. It's not if you're anywhere in the state of Florida, leave. Or honestly, if you're any on this side, because everyone kind of shifted over to the east side. But it's even that, like understanding more of your own data points and knowing, okay, well, do I live near a canal? Because people a mile away from us it is different.
You should have left. Flooding. Yeah.
I mean, I should have left, but like you're gonna have flooding. It might not be crazy. Maybe it would be better for you to stay to help get the water out as quicker. But
it's like what we were talking about too of buying a house. I don't want to buy one on a canal or a river or anything.
I mean, because all of the students in the estates, they're like, we're going to be fine.
Right.
If you don't have extreme wind or extreme rain where it's going to knock down all the trees, I mean, they're 30 minutes inland. Yeah. But they're like, it's going to be nothing.
Well, and that's what I liked talking to our boss about it, like a day or two before. I'd asked, like, do you think you guys are going to leave? And she was like, I don't think so. And she told us about Ian and what that had happened. And I mentioned something, and she's like, well, actually, the hurricanes, just like if you're on the north half of it, you're going to get the rain and the wind, like a lot of rain and a lot of wind. But if you're on the south end of it, you're going to get more of the surge and not as much rain, if any. And we didn't get hardly any rain, but then some of the winds and not aggressively. So it's like even knowing where the hurricane's going to hit.
Understanding what a hurricane is.
And if you're on the north side, this is what you expect. If you're on the south side, this is what you expect. So like the people that are in Tampa, where they're not really getting any storm surge. Well, if you're on the coast, you maybe don't have to worry about leaving then because you're not getting the storm surge. Now, it's all general. If you're very close to the eye, you're going to get some storm surge. But if you're way north of it, like for us, we were way south of the eye. And like we weren't even really in the circle, the cone they always talk about. We weren't even in that circle of it.
Where you take Orlando, which is 2.5 hours inland, and they still were getting the rain and the wind. They probably had more of that than we did.
Right. And they probably got some of the eye or were close to it too. Well, it maybe went a little bit south of them, but like even at that point, because it's hitting land, it's becoming weaker and weaker. But it's just like knowing where you're at in conjunction to it. And it's all this, like you said, the data point stuff. It's just knowing where you're at and what you've had in the past and what you're dealing with. But I think people just hear hurricane, they're like, and it's going to hit this area, so everybody's got to leave. And it's, well, no, I mean, that's not how it works. And I mean, we had no flooding. We had barely any rain. There was some wind. We didn't even have the power go out. Like, I just think the only thing I'm upset about is just the meteorologists on the news fear-mongering everybody and making everybody scared.
Which then in turn makes them not be prepared because they're boy who cried wolf.
And they're not reliable then.